What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. And I'm about to explain to you today really quick why the 80-20 rule is capped. And the 80-20 rule is really just saying that only 20% of men get to be players. It's not saying that only 20% of men get access to 80% of women. You gotta be a delusional man to really believe in the 80-20 rule. Now, you gotta be a delusional woman to make the 80-20 rule true, but you also have to be a delusional man to even believe in the 80-20 rule. And I'm about to explain why in this video, so roll with me, alright? First, before I break down what's delusional and why the 80-20 rule is capped, let me explain what it is. The 80-20 rule basically says that the top 20% of men, okay, and the top 20% of men that consist of dudes who won the genetic lottery, dudes who are super rich or affluent. Basically, we'll call it the 3 6s. For those of you who don't know what it is, when women say the 3 6s, it's 6 figures, at least 6 feet tall, at least 6 inches, a 6-pack, a 6-cylinder car, all that crap, okay? So we'll say the 20% of men, they have that, or they have most of that. And the theory is that these guys could pretty much get any one of these women that they want, all right? We're just going to draw a bunch of lines. These guys have access to all these women, all right? And the rest of men only have access to basically 20% of women. So basically like the bottom 2 are up for all the rest of these men. They have access to the bottom 2% of women. So all the guys in the 20% are pretty much getting almost all the women, and only leaves 20% of the women for the rest of the men. Now, let me explain to you guys why this is capped, okay? First of all, if you're a 20% man, let's be honest. Where are you shooting, okay? You're going to be shooting for 10s, all right? You're going to be shooting for 9s. You might shoot for an 8 or a 7 on a slow Tuesday or a weekday where nobody else is picking up, okay? I'll even be nice and say every once in a while you'll shoot for a 6, but realistically, they ain't really looking at no 6s. They're really shooting for 9s and 10s because they know that they're in the 20%, okay? These guys know who they are, and then on slower days, they'll probably be sleeping with 8s and some 7s, okay? Now, what does this show you? This shows you that you have a whole list of women over here. All right, and really we're going to put the 6 in there because the 6 more often than not is going to be included in this. You have 60% of women still available for 80% of men. So really what you got is a 60-80 rule. 80% of men now have 60% of women left over. Now that's not a bad ratio. In that ratio, okay, and when you consider there's more women in the world than men, this will probably balance itself out to basically you having a 50-50 chance of getting you a solid woman. The reason I said men who believe in the 80-20 rule are delusional is because the problem is, and this is where the delusion comes in, the problem is, just like y'all call the women delusional because all these women think that they can land a 20% men, your men are delusional too because all of you men want women in this tier. Every single one of you men want women in this tier. All of you. And if you can't get a woman in this tier, instead of looking at yourself and saying, damn, I have an entry-level job. Damn, I still live with my mama. Damn, I don't even have a car. I don't have my shit together. Y'all want to come online and talk crap about the women. They're delusional. They don't want a 20% man. They don't want the 6 6s. Da, 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 da. When you're ignoring all these women right here. All these women right here that you guys can have, you're completely ignoring them because you want to focus on these women up here. So when you look at it like that, now you can flip the 80-20 rule and really say the 80-20 rule goes both ways because 80% of men, literally 80% of men, all still want 8s, 9s, and 10s. All right, now I tell you guys all the time to go with an average woman, a 6, a 7, and maybe an 8, but leave the 9s and 10s alone because most of the time they're monetized. But y'all don't listen. Y'all watch shows full of 9s and 10s and escorts and IG models and scrippers and celebrities and all that crap, and that's what you want. And if you don't believe me, let me tell you guys a story real quick. Now, I'm going to give you guys an example of why I said the 80-20 rule only applies for 20% of men being able to be players, not 20% of men getting all 80% of the women and the rest of the men being left out. And I'm going to tell you guys why this makes you delusional. Peep this story. One of my mans has a baby mama, okay? This is baby mama. Now, nothing wrong with the girl. She has a nice little body on her, okay? She's pretty, okay? She's not gonna knock your socks off, but she's a fine girl. She's a girl he should be more than happy with. A lot of dudes would kill to have a girl like that. But let me tell you something about my mans. My mans is popping on Twitter and Instagram. So because he's popping on Twitter and Instagram, he's used to seeing 9s and 10s all day, maybe even a couple of 8s. So, because he's popping on these platforms, he delusionally believes he should have one of these women. And because his baby mom usually sits about 7 or 6, okay, now you can rank her higher. Again, she's a cute girl, but I'm just saying, generally, in his head, she sits at about 7 and 6. He feels like he deserves more than that. Like right now, for example, he's trying to talk to this chick. Alright, this is a chick who he knows online, who he's seen online, okay? He's trying to match to her using his big following. But I should say, she is not aware that this man has a car, okay? He's got BMW, but guess what? He ain't got no place. He still lives with his mom. He is 29 years old, by the way. And his job is entry level. She doesn't know this. All she knows about him is from his IG on his Twitter. To the point where I use your place and pretend that your place is mine. That's to the point where he's at. Now, let me tell you guys something, okay? Again, he should be happy with who he has as a baby mother. But he's like, yo, if this girl comes up, can I stay at your place? Basically, pretend that your place is mine. He wants to fake the funk for that girl. I'm like, what's the point in doing that? Because you're not going to be able to keep any of these girls until you get your shit together in the first place, okay? So it doesn't matter. So he should be happy, honestly. Forget trying to upgrade. He should be happy with his baby mother who sits right here or here, okay, maybe even here to some people. He should be happy with that, considering he doesn't have his own place, considering he has an entry-level job. But because of social media, and this is why I tell you guys to stay off of social media, because it's a fantasy, not reality, he feels like he should have one of these girls. So when he can't get these girls because they inevitably realize that he don't got money like that, because they're expecting him to be able to fly them out, they're expecting him to be able to show them a good time, which I also mentioned to him. I'm like, even if you use my place, they're still going to expect you to take them out and show them a good time. They're not going to let you take them to Fridays. They're not going to let you take them to Applebee's. You're going to have to spring break because you're faking like you're that dude and you're not that dude yet. Why don't you just get back with your baby mom? He's like, oh, but I'm going to become that dude. He won't even wait until he becomes that dude, until he starts to go after these types of women. But he can't get them, and so guess what he gets? He gets frustrated. And then he ends up going, oh, these women are hoes and da-da-da-da-da. This dude literally gets offended if any woman below here even says anything to him. And this is what I mean when I say dudes who believe in the 80-20 rule are delusional. Because this man has access to all these women. His baby mama literally sits here. And he's still focused on this. Despite the fact that he lives with his mom, despite the fact that he has an entry-level job, doesn't matter, he still wants to shoot up here. Doesn't that make him just as delusional as the women who are all the way down here and they still want a top 20% man? Doesn't that make him what we complain about? This is why I say the 80-20 rule is cap. This is why I say only delusional men even believe in it. Because even if you believe that, you're still more like a 60-40 rule. You still have all these women here. The reality is the only men who get mad or even talk about the 80-20 rule is men who are down here in their tiers or lower, but they still want women who are up here, which at the end of the day makes them just as delusional as the women that they complain about. I'm Alex and I'm out. Peace.